Forward from the author. Around the age of 7 or 8, I once found myself herding geese on a sandy expanse all alone when suddenly I saw several mist-like formations swiftly moving before my eyes. One of them aggressively charged towards me, causing a buzzing sound in my head and a blackout. Overwhelmed, I instinctively crouched down, taking quite a while to regain my senses, by which time the mist had completely dissipated. I hadn't seen any UFOs, but I do remember noticing a flash of red light in the western sky earlier that day, roughly between the afternoon and evening. Around 4 or 5 o'clock, the red light appeared close to the sun, which was already surrounded by many red clouds, so the idea of UFOs or anything of the sort didn't really cross my mind. This remains one of the strangest encounters of my childhood, deeply ingrained in my memory. Starting from around the age of 12 or 13, I frequently dreamt at night of living on another planet. There, the sunlight seemed weaker, casting a bluish light. The planet was almost devoid of vegetation and appeared inhospitable on the surface, with humanity dwelling deep underground. We used incredibly fast modes of transportation that moved between the surface and the underground effortlessly. What stood out most in my mind were the massive and complex structures that spanned both above and below ground, predominantly constructed from lead gray metal, giving the entire planet a monochromatic and dreary appearance. Having such dreams occasionally wouldn't be peculiar, but the frequency and vividness of these dreams over many years have led me to ponder their underlying reasons. In my youth, I encountered numerous strange phenomena which I now speculate to involve extraterrestrials, particularly when I was suffering from severe nephritis during a time of extreme poverty in my family, where hunger was a constant companion and members of my family had starved to death. I was on the brink of death without any possibility of hospital treatment when I firmly believe extraterrestrials saved me. This memory is particularly vivid. Another time, I was afflicted with a serious eye disease that lasted for 6 months without any form of treatment. My mother, the only one who occasionally checked on me, tried to soothe my eyes with her saliva when I couldn't open them. Initially, it seemed to help, but soon it lost its effect. She didn't have any money for hospital treatments. Back then, our family was in dire poverty, and the general attitude was one of ignorance and numbness to the suffering around us. The death of a child was met with the same level of grief as if a small cat or dog had passed away. Eventually, my condition worsened to the point where I was nearly blind, unable to see where I was going, and could only sit by my bed all day. It was then that a group of mysterious individuals arrived and miraculously cured my eyesight. When I was young, I was taken away several times by mysterious figures. Surprisingly, I felt no fear upon encountering them. Each time before their arrival, I had a strong intuition telling myself, they're coming, and indeed they always did. Upon their arrival, the walls would invariably glow red. They would whisk me away from my bed at night, effortlessly passing through the walls, only to return me to my bed by morning. I often questioned whether this was merely a dream. One time, as they returned me, I requested to be placed on a heap of grass in front of the village cow shed. The next morning, as expected, I woke up on that very heap. Upon returning home, my mother, preoccupied with her morning chores, didn't inquire about my whereabouts. In the years that followed, I found myself questioning whether these childhood encounters were figments of my imagination. However, the memory of sleeping on that haystack was too vivid to dismiss as a dream, solidifying my conviction that those experiences were indeed real. In the early summer of 1985, when I was 19 years old, I encountered aliens again and traveled to an alien planet for a month. The basis for my certainty that I encountered aliens in 1985 is this. I wrote many letters to the authorities about this matter at that time, and they all said that I was 19 years old. According to our rural people's calculation of how old they are, East Asian age reckoning, I was born in 1967, so it should have been in 1985. Neither did I look at the calendar when I came back from the alien planet, nor did I have any intention of looking for evidence at that time. However, on our Earth, it only lasted one night. Their time is different from ours. This was the last time I met aliens. From then on, I had no contact with aliens. Not only the contact of the meeting was gone, but also the contact such as telepathy was gone. This time my memory was also not very clear. It was possible that my memory was disturbed by them. However, by this time I was an adult and had a certain ability to think and judge for myself, and I gained a lot of information on the alien planet. Prior to this encounter, I had delved into magazines related to alien abductions, which primed me to recognize the possibility of encountering these enigmatic beings during my initial interaction with them at 19. The knowledge gleaned from this expedition proved invaluable and significantly impacted the trajectory of my life. Without it, I might have remained a conventional farmer, leading a mundane existence focused solely on family life. The experience propelled me into realms of inquiry about the universe's mysteries, space-time, and cutting-edge physics, driving me to contribute numerous articles online. I was a diligent student, putting in extra effort with my studies, but my academic performance remained average due to my lack of natural aptitude. When it came time to graduate from junior high and move on to senior high, there was a preliminary exam I needed to pass. Unfortunately, despite my best efforts, I failed to clear it. Even after a year of repeating the preparation, I still couldn't succeed. This disappointment led to my father expressing his frustration through physical discipline. With my hopes of continuing further education dashed, I returned home to pursue farming. Life became a cycle of labor during the day and fishing at night, leaving little time for reading books. Acquiring advanced textbooks, especially beyond the level of high school, was nearly impossible in our rural setting. The nearby Sana town lacked such resources, limiting my access to only junior high materials and leisure reading. The source of my knowledge of cosmic mysteries and cutting-edge physics remains a mystery to me, yet I am convinced it has some connection to encounters with extraterrestrial beings. On Earth, when a person goes on a journey and then recalls the experience, upon returning, typically, the memories unfold in the mind in chronological order, much like watching a movie, but the memories of this journey are disjointed, and the sequence of events may have been disrupted. I don't know what happened first and what happened next. In their world, the passage of time and the flow of events are radically different. At a moment, you may be facing imminent danger, only to find yourself swiftly transported by their advanced means of conveyance, the global movement, Web, GMW, to a place of safety and comfort without even the need to walk through a door. Their society is deeply immersed in virtualization, often blurring the lines between what is virtual and what is real for me. At times, the transition between actual and virtual scenarios seems to happen at will. At a time, you're certain you're in a virtual scene, but then inexplicably it shifts into reality. Similarly, you might be convinced you're in a real setting, only for it to suddenly morph into a virtual environment. This encounter with extraterrestrials was unlike any typical alien interaction. The vast amount of information I received from them, especially in terms of scientific and technological knowledge, wasn't communicated through their language or any traditional form of learning. It felt as if there was a direct exchange of consciousness with the aliens, as though an alien's consciousness had merged with mine, giving me access to fragments of their memory that I gradually came to understand. It's also possible that they used some form of artificial field scanning technology to implant a wealth of information into my brain through an invisible medium. Much like downloading data onto a computer, they repeatedly scanned my brain and body with this artificial field device, leaving me uncertain whether their goal was to impart knowledge or conduct other experiments. However, the memories and especially the vivid images I've acquired are immensely plentiful. When pieced together, these memories become invaluable, though they also encompass many secrets I still can't unravel to this day. Having just returned from the alien planet, I vividly remembered numerous physical formulas and mathematical equations, which I diligently noted in a workbook. Unfortunately, my brother tore it to pieces, leaving only fragments. When I inquired about the rest, he ignored me. The remnants eventually disappeared as well. Now 37 years have passed. The scientific theories from the aliens remain, partially in my memory through verbal descriptions and a few pivotal physical equations, such as a grand unification equation that integrates the four fundamental forces, the general momentum equation, and equations defining mass and electric charge, among others. Sadly, much of it has been forgotten. After sharing my experience with extraterrestrials online, it attracted considerable attention. Shanghai Baoshan television station even interviewed me, but the segment was censored and never aired on TV, although traces of it linger on the internet. For more than a decade, I've been chronicling my encounters with aliens online, eager to narrate my journey to their planet. However, busy with managing a small business, my online presence was limited to brief descriptions of my extraterrestrial adventures. Authorities warned me via phone calls and direct messages to frame my extraterrestrial travels as fiction, not factual reports, to avoid public panic. A few years ago, I authored An Adventure to Gork Planet as a novel. Yet, due to censorship, it underwent such extensive revisions that its essence was lost before it barely made it online, and now it's nearly entirely erased from the internet. The current climate is increasingly unwelcoming of such disclosures, tightening controls over the years. I've faced multiple summons and inquiries by the police for spreading this information. At one point, they demanded I pledge not to post these articles online anymore. I complied, though the details are fuzzy now. They likely have the written pledge. Police searches at my home and scrutiny of my phone instilled fear in my family, reducing my mother-in-law to tears and sparking frequent, heated disputes with my wife, who condemned my online postings. The unilateral flow of information has hardened some netizens against accepting my accounts, leading to extreme aversion and continuous reports against me. Persistent reporting over the years by some has led to my blacklisting on numerous platforms, notably resulting in the deletion of my groundbreaking articles on alien physics from my Sina blog, an irreplaceable loss due to a lack of backups. Frequent reports have led to repeated bans on my WeChat account with ongoing warnings and restricted functionalities, including frequent blocks on WeChat Pay. My account on TikTok remains under restrictions due to the overwhelming number of reports. The experiences that haunt me the most on that planet are those of sexual assault, which remain the clearest in my memory. Their practices of intimacy, by our earthly standards, are profoundly disturbing. Revealing all these details might be too shocking for our society. Hence, despite my vivid recollections, I've opted to share only a select few incidents. Furthermore, these aliens delved into sensitive topics such as undercover extraterrestrials on Earth, humanity's future, prophecies about Earth, the direction China will take, political figures, and the emergence of saints. I am waiting for a time when society acknowledges me, granting me fame and status that would allow me to disclose these sensitive matters fully. If I were to, right now, my inability to protect myself and my family would put me and my family at a huge disadvantage. So I still don't write about it. Given the incomprehensibility of many occurrences during my journey and the fuzziness of my memories, I found some aspects challenging to articulate clearly. I hope readers can appreciate this. I also wish for readers to approach my story with openness and tolerance, refraining from undue criticism, insults, or reports. Consider this, with billions of people around the globe, and China being the most populous, isn't it plausible that some individuals have encountered bizarre? This book unveils a plethora of previously unknown details about extraterrestrial life, quenching the public's thirst for genuine insights into alien worlds and their inhabitants' everyday lives. It also serves as a source of inspiration and reference for researchers and scientists. After reading this book, readers will gain a basic understanding of the advanced technologies, societal structures, ethics, and the physical composition, both internal and external, of extraterrestrial beings from highly developed planets. Online research shows that only a handful of people worldwide claim to have visited alien planets. Their accounts of extraterrestrial encounters vary significantly from my own. It's possible that some of these individuals are not truthful, while others may have had their memories severely altered or misled by aliens, or they simply encountered different species of extraterrestrials. After returning from an alien planet, I was profoundly shaken, realizing that alien technologies could radically transform our Earth. I zealously spread the word, writing thousands of letters to various authorities over decades, receiving only a few responses, most of which coldly stated, "This matter does not concern us." I even reached out to television stations, only to be mocked by a person at the first-time column of Anhui radio and television station's Economic Life channel, who scoffed, "You expect us to interview you? Who do you think you are?" My relentless letter writing deformed my right middle finger, during which time I also patented a new type of pen. I personally presented my findings to various organizations, but they dismissed my materials and explanations outright. Some suggested that the idea of a farmer encountering aliens was too absurd for these officials to entertain. However, often I was turned away before I could even mention aliens, possibly prejudged by my appearance. With the advent of the internet in my village, I shifted my efforts online, spending nearly 4 decades researching and promoting alien technology. Regrettably, even in this age of digital connectivity, I have yet to garner societal recognition or concern, a confusion shared by many online and myself. My strategy now is to continue publishing articles and writing science fiction online, aiming for fame. Once recognized, the groundbreaking alien technology of artificial field scanning I've introduced will inevitably gain the attention it deserves, despite any discontent it may cause. This approach might be my only route to success. While many online friends have advised conducting experiments, which I certainly won't abandon, my partnership with netizens on these projects has a slim chance of success due to our basic facilities and resources.